Hello and welcome guys to a new episode on SportPredictorFanatic. Today we're going to predict the round 6 matchups of the Premier League that are going to be played this weekend. First I'm of course going to predict all the matches, think who is going to win or maybe is going to draw, and then we're going to get into the betting part. So without further ado, let's just get into it. The first match that is going to be played is a pretty big one, with Newcastle playing against Manchester City. Newcastle are on 10 points after 5 games and with that are shared 5th at the moment. Newcastle last week lost 3-1 to Fulham. Manchester City are on 13 points after 5 games and with that are of course first. Manchester City have almost had like a perfect start to the season. They won the Super Cup against Man United, then won the first 4 matches in the Premier League, did draw in the Champions League against Inter of course last week, and of course also drew last week in the Premier League against Arsenal. All with all, pretty perfect start. And of course earlier this week they also won their match in the EFL Cup against Watford. And with that, of course, Manchester City are unbeaten this season. Last season, Newcastle and Manchester City played each other 4 times, with Manchester City winning 3 of them, and the other one was won by Newcastle. Of course, City are the favorites here, but Newcastle has actually shown that they can play pretty well and can actually surprise Manchester City, although I do think that Manchester City at this moment are just too good and will win this matchup. Then we have Arsenal playing against Leicester City. Arsenal are on 11 points after 5 games and with that are 4th. Arsenal last weekend, of course, drew against Manchester City, as just said, and earlier this week won against Bolton in the EFL Cup. With that, they are still unbeaten this season. Leicester are on 3 points after 5 games, and with that are 15th. Last weekend, Leicester drew for the 2nd week in a row with a 1-1 against Everton. Earlier this week, they also won in the EFL Cup against Walsall on penalties. The last time Arsenal and Leicester played was back in 2023, where Arsenal won the matchup. And actually, the last 5 matches between Arsenal and Leicester have been won by Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal are the favourites here, I think, deservingly so. And I think with the moment of Leicester at the moment, like the form of Leicester at the moment, I think Arsenal are going to win this match pretty darn easily. So the next matchup is then Brentford against West Ham. Brentford are on 6 points after 5 games and with that are 12th. Brentford have lost the last 2 Premier League games with a loss to Manchester City and last weekend a 3-1 loss against Tottenham. Of course, no shame there. West Ham are on 4 points after 5 games and with that are 14th. Last weekend, West Ham lost 3-0 against Chelsea and earlier this week lost 5-1 in the EFL Cup against Liverpool. Last season, West Ham and Brentford played each other twice, with both times the home team winning. I think West Ham have the better team here, but I think Brentford are playing slightly better than them until now. But I think West Ham will finally unleash like their inner selves and will finally get like the win right here. That's just my feeling. Then we have a Chelsea playing against Brighton, another like pretty good matchup. Chelsea are on 10 points after 5 games and with that are shared 5th. Chelsea have won the last 2 Premier League games, with last weekend a 3-0 win over West Ham. Earlier this week, they also got a 5-0 win over Borough in the EFL Cup. Brighton are on 9 points after 5 games and with that are shared 7th. Brighton drew the last 3 Premier League games and with last weekend a 2-2 draw against Nottingham Forest. Brighton are yet to lose a match this season, so they are still unbeaten. Well, last season Chelsea and Brighton played each other 3 times, with Chelsea actually winning all 3 matchups. I think Chelsea do have the better team here, but they also have been like pretty unsteady. So it's hard to say, but like if they don't perform, I think Brighton will win. But I actually expect a little bit of Chelsea to do well, so I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. And then we have Everton playing against Crystal Palace. Everton are on 1 point after 5 games, and with that are shared last. The point Everton got, they did get last week with a draw against Leicester. While Crystal Palace are on 3 points after 5 games, and with that are shared 15th. Crystal Palace drew the last 3 games, with last week a scoreless draw against Man United. Last season, Everton and Crystal Palace actually played each other 4 times, with Everton winning away in the league and winning at home in the cup, but the other 2 matches were draws. The last time actually Palace won away at Everton was in 2014. Since then, 6 wins for Everton at home and 4 draws. I think Crystal Palace have been the better team this season for now. I think also they got like a better team. And I actually think because of that, they are going to get their first win in the Premier League this season. Then we have the matchup of a Nottingham Forest playing against a Fulham. Nottingham are on 9 points after 5 games, and with that are shared 7th. Nottingham drew the last matchup with a 2-2 against Brighton, and with that are still unbeaten in the Premier League, despite having played Liverpool and actually won that match. Fulham are on 8 points after 5 games, and with that are 9th. Fulham last weekend won 3-1 against Newcastle. Nottingham and Fulham last season played each other twice, with both times actually the home team winning. I think this could be like a really close matchup, but because Nottingham are playing slightly better at the minute, I think Nottingham will get the W there. Then we have Wolves playing against Liverpool. Wolves are on 1 point after 5 games, and with that are shared last. Wolves had lost the last 2 Premier League matches, with last weekend a loss against Aston Villa. Liverpool are on 12 points after 5 games, and with that are shared 2nd. Liverpool won last weekend against Bournemouth with 3-0, and earlier this week won 5-1 against West Ham in the EFL Cup. And of course with a B team. Last season, Liverpool and Wolves played each other twice, with Liverpool winning both matchups. Of course, Liverpool are the favorites here, like obvious. And I think with the full form that Wolves have, they don't really form a threat for them. So because of that, I'm going to go for a Liverpool win. Then we have Ipswich against Aston Villa. Ipswich are on 3 points after 5 games, and with that are shared 15th. Ipswich have drawn the last 3 matches, with last week a draw against Southampton. Aston Villa are on 12 points after 5 games, and with that are shared 2nd. Aston Villa have won the last 3 Premier League games, with last weekend a 3-1 win over Wolves. Last week, Aston Villa got a win over Young Boys as well in the Champions League, and earlier this week they also got a 2-1 win against Wycombe in the EFL Cup. With that, Aston Villa are now on a 5-match winning streak. The last time Ipswich and Aston Villa played each other was in 2019, where Aston Villa won. And I think with the form that Aston Villa have shown the last few matches, I think they are going to get this a W. Then we have Manchester United against Tottenham, another big matchup. I wouldn't call this the biggest matchup of this week, as there are 2 bigger matchups. I think in La Liga, of course, Atletico Madrid playing against Real Madrid, and of course Bayern Munich playing against Bayer Leverkusen. But of course, big matchup. Manchester United and Tottenham are both on 7 points after 5 games, and with that are shared 10th. Last weekend, Man United drew 0-0 against Crystal Palace, and earlier this week also drew in the Europa League against Twente with 1-1, which was a really bad performance from them. Tottenham have won actually the last 2 Premier League games, with last weekend a win over Brentford. And then earlier this week they also got a win in the Europa League against Karabakh with 3-0, despite being with 10 men from almost the start, and actually not playing with their full first team. Last season, Man United and Tottenham have played each other twice, with Tottenham winning at home and the other match ended in a draw. I think Tottenham and Manchester United are quite equal. Like the teams are quite equal, but I think with the form that Tottenham have right now, I think Tottenham is going to walk away with a win here. Then we have the last matchup, which is Bournemouth against Southampton. Bournemouth are 5 points after 5 games, and with that are 13th. Bournemouth had lost the last 2 matches, with first a loss against Chelsea and last week against Liverpool. Southampton are on 1 point after 5 games, and with that are shared last. Southampton last week got their point with a draw against Ipswich. The last time Bournemouth and Southampton actually played each other was in 2023, where Bournemouth won the matchup. I think Bournemouth clearly have the better team here, also have the better form here, and because of that, I think Bournemouth is going to get this W. And then into the betting part, we have placed a bet on 5 matches. We're going to do doubles and trebles again, like pretty much always. But yeah, I'm going with these matches. West Ham to win, the odds for that is 3.15. Crystal Palace to win their matchup, the odds for that is 2.60. Nottingham Forest to win, the odds for that is 2.36. And Aston Villa to win, the odds for that is 1.91. Tottenham to win their matchup, the odds for that is 2.75. So yeah, I'm going to be putting 10 euros in total, 0.5 on doubles, 0.5 on trebles. With that, of course, 10 euros. So yeah, let's hope we get it right. Let me know what you think is right or wrong. But for now, I want to thank y'all for watching. Please have a good day, and I will see you.